been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead. I've been running in circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left.
Welcome back to the channel. Well, as you can probably see, I've got a new hat and a totally new location. I'm not in the normal landscape areas, and I'm certainly not in a woodland. We've been locked down again, as most people probably know, so we've got to stay local. So I thought, well, I'll use this opportunity. There's loads of videos at the moment on about like woodland photography and stuff like that, and I thought I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to come and do a little bit of urban landscape photography. So I've come down to Salford Quays, and as you can see, I've got the BBC buildings behind me, and I've got some fantastic apartment blocks and things to shoot. So what I'm going to try and do is set up a nice long exposure pano with this bridge and these buildings here. So I'll go through the settings as we go on, and we'll see what we can get. So set my composition up now. Basically I was stood a bit further down and I realised that I wanted to get the studio sign there you go. I'm getting good at this now. Look at that, bang on first time. So I wanted to get that in the shot, and when I was stood there I didn't even realise, so I've just shot a panel off now and didn't realise that I missed it off. So I just moved slightly further down just to adjust the composition slightly. So I'm shooting in f11 here because the depth of field needs to be strong enough that these buildings are a bit closer than the ones further back, so I want to make sure that my depth of field gets them all in. So I'm focusing on that building there, and I'm hoping at f11 it should basically give me a big enough depth of field in between the two. Now when you do these, I'll flip you around, this is the most important thing with these panos. You've got to make sure that your tripod, I don't know if you can see it, is levelled. So level the tripod, and then you can see I've also levelled the bubble there. So effectively when I move this, when I pan round, the bubble doesn't move. So the camera's perfectly level. And with a crop sensor, it's even more important that you get that right, because otherwise when you get it back into post, you've just got no image to work with, and it's an absolute nightmare. I'm speaking from experience here because I've done it so many times where I've got back and thought, got it, I've got a great shot there, and then try to stitch them together and I'm left with like a tiny letterbox left because the camera's been all over the place. So I'm in f11. I'm going to use a big stopper filter on this, so that's giving me roughly, in this light now, f11, it's giving me about a 45-second exposure. So what I'm going to do is rattle off about 5 shots all the way along. I'm in portrait mode as well because I want to try and get the most out of the photograph that I can. So about 5 shots, 45 seconds each, and then we'll tie them all together in Lightroom. So if these are any good, I'll stick them up for you now. Okay, so yet again I've moved a little bit further down. It's very similar this to woodland photography, in so much as that you're trying to make a path through so you can see everything that you want to photograph. The BBC sign there, nearly, the BBC sign there, it was basically being blocked by these posts, slightly obscured, and also the ITV sign, which is there, was also being obscured. So what I've done is I've moved a little bit further down to make sure that those signs are now clear in the shot. And also I've managed to shorten the length of that bridge a little bit as well, because it was a little bit too long, a bit too out on its own. There's a lot of negative space in between the bridge and the first building. So I've moved down, I've got that. I've basically changed my filter as well. I was using a 10-stop ND filter on this and it was taking forever, so I put the little stopper in, which is a 6-stop ND filter, and it's coming out at around about a minute. So I'm hoping that these are going to work, and if they have, put them up now for you. So here we go. The sun's just about gone down and the lights now are all on in all the buildings, which it does make long exposure a little bit more tricky when it's like this, because you've got to expose slightly to the right in order that you can recover the shadow details, but you've also not got to expose too far to the right because these lights are so bright you'll just blow them all out when you try and recover them in post. So I'm hoping that I've managed to get it right. We'll wait and see. I just met two ladies down here called Emma and Sarah who were out photographing Media City in Manchester, and they were showing me some of their work on Instagram, and it's seriously good. So I'll put a link in the description for them, and you can have a look at their Instagram pages as well. But it's absolutely brilliant down here. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I've lived in Manchester for 20 years, right? 20 years, and last week was the first time I'd ever been to Media City. How bad's that? How bad is that? But anyway, I'll put you back on in a minute when I've taken this last pano and we'll see what it looks like. So you can probably see it's pretty dark now. It's absolutely magnificent. It's a beautiful cityscape that I'm photographing here. I just thought that I'd mention I've continued to use my 6-stop filter all the way through this, and really I'd have probably got away with just putting a polarizer on maybe, but I've tried it last time I was down here and I was only getting 15-16 seconds with it, so I've kept the ND6, the 6-stop ND filter on so I can really smooth all that water out. And I forgot to mention before that it's always worth, when you're doing these things, just to keep increasing your time every time you do an exposure, because you find as the sun's going down, it's one of them that the light decreases, therefore you need to expose for longer. So I started off, I think at this end here, I think I started off at something like about 2 minutes 10, and by the time I've got all the way across here I'm at nearly 4 minutes now, so it just shows you how much of a massive difference there is, and I've not been having a coffee in between. So anyway, if this pano was any good, I'll put it up now for you. So there you go. It's compositionally it pretty much takes care of itself here. It's absolutely magnificent. So I hope you like the pictures that I've put up, and don't forget, if you like the content, the best thing you can do, just give that video a like, or if you want to subscribe, hit the bell and you get on my future content moving forward. So it's been a bit short of this video, but I just wanted to come down and grab this shot because from being here last week I thought I've got to come down and do a video on this. It's too good not to. So anyway, enough rambling. Until the next time, I'll see you around. Wow, superb.